Hello. So I completely, spontaneously pretty much, remembered that the 40 hours and 7 days language challenge exists and decided to do it in the space of like 8 hours. So yesterday I had a decent language learning day, and so I was going to make like the introduction to this video last night, and then I watched a movie that made me cry, and so I just was like, I'm not gonna film a clip right now, I'm just gonna go to bed. So yesterday I did 5 hours and 19 minutes. So kind of my thought is there's like a couple ways obviously to like split up 40 hours in 7 days. So if you are doing the same amount every day, it works out to 5 hours, 5.7 hours. So I am in like, a relatively responsibility-free place in life where I don't have kids, I don't, have any care responsibilities or anything like that, but I do have a full-time job, and so obviously weekends are going to be a better opportunity for me to do things. So my other thought was 8 hours per day on the weekend. So if you do 8 hours 2 days and then spread the other 24 hours over 5 days, that works out to 4 hours and 40 minutes per day, or per weekday. Sorry for all this schedule stuff. I'm just, talking through it. I do need to take a shower and, get rid of this headache that I have right now. So we're going to do that, and then I will catch back up this evening. Okay, so unfortunately I have not been super effective at getting rid of my headache. So I have done some more things. I watched some YouTube. I read some of a book. So I started listening to this book called Panicus, but I really didn't know what was happening. So I downloaded the ebook to kind of read along with it and hopefully figure out what was going on. So I just did like 20 minutes of that. I am at almost 3 hours for today. I did do some little goal things. So I would like to read through chapter 6 of La Casa de los Espíritus. That is about a quarter of the book. So I've read about a quarter of the book so far, and I want to read another quarter of the book. I would like to watch the movie Bestas, which is, I think, the Goya winner or something like that this year. My Italki teacher told me about it, and I also, this is other news, I got a subscription to Filmin, which is like a Spanish subscription like Netflix, mostly European film, including Spanish film, but not only Spanish film. So I've watched a couple movies so far, and they have been significantly better than most of the Netflix Spanish movies, which is not surprising. They have all been award-winning films. But anyway, then I want to study the imperfect and the indefinite tenses. So that is what I have right now. I definitely think I will need more things in order to fill up this time. I need to start a new Spanish audiobook, so I need to pick that. I need to do something easier. I finished a sci-fi book listening to it yesterday, and it was good. I liked it, but it was definitely the most difficult plot-wise book that I have ever listened to in Spanish, and so I did know what was going on, a big picture, but I do think I missed quite a lot, and I think, I tried to cycle in more difficult things to challenge myself along with some slightly more suitable level things. So I think I am going to just watch YouTube or something until I go to sleep. It's 9 o'clock, and I don't think I'm going to last that much longer. I do have a sinus infection, which hasn't really been bothering me that much, but I think today my headache is a result of that. So I am on antibiotics because I've had this infection for 3 weeks. So hopefully they will start doing their thing pretty soon here and get rid of this. So anyway, I will stop rambling and start listening. So.
Cuando te invité al club de lectura y me dijiste que estabas muy ocupada y no podías estar. Y gracias también, cómo no.
Es un trabajo que no nos da mucho.
Y creo que esa es una de las claves, ¿no? Las experiencias vividas con las personas y el escuchar.
Sí.
Y entonces dinos, ¿cuántos idiomas manejas?
Good morning. It is Saturday, 9:30. I just watched an hour or so of YouTube. I was working on this flashcard deck, which is a refill deck that I bought. It is the top 1,000 words in Spanish with, like, oh my god, what are they called? Cognates, with cognates removed. And so I am going through and like freezing the cards that I already know, which is a lot of them. I knew that I would know quite a few of them, but I still wanted to try it out, you know, kind of have a pre-built deck that had audio and everything in it and sentences to at least start from, and then if I like using them, I will, you know, start building my own. I don't think that I will, to be honest. I really don't like flashcards, but, you know, I think it's good to change up how you're learning regularly and just try new things, and so I am giving it a try. So now I'm going to do my reviews and my new cards for the day. I've only done one day so far, like I did a day last week sometime. Yeah, so yesterday did not go according to plan at all, partially due to circumstances beyond my control, partially due to circumstances entirely within my control. So anyway, I got like 3 hours and 30 minutes yesterday, which is obviously way less than I intended, but still, I think it's fine. I did watch Bestas. It was really good. It is actually based on a true story, so I looked that up afterwards because it didn't end like super resolved, so I looked up the true story afterwards, which is slightly different. But anyway, in the movie, a French couple has moved to a region of Spain where Gallego is spoken, and they are doing this like eco farm thing. The little town has the opportunity to sell their land to a solar farm, and the other people want to do it because they, you know, have been living in kind of generational poverty basically and don't really have any opportunities there. And the French couple does not want to because, you know, this was like their dream and they're, you know, doing well and stuff. And so this conflict kind of builds. It was good. Other than that, I did do a little bit of studying. I read some books, watched some stuff, but nothing too dramatic. Yes, so I will be out of my house most of the day today, but I will try to bring my camera and maybe film some stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I think that's all the updates that I have. Hello, it is Sunday at 3 p.m. So, yesterday I did have a pretty good day. I'm just adding up my totals here to figure out how behind I am. 19 hours and 10 minutes. So if I was doing, you know, the average amount that I was supposed to be doing, I should have been yesterday at 22.8 hours. So I am still behind, but not like hopelessly behind. I am going to start some YouTube and do stuff around. I have restocked my watch later, and so I'm gonna work on that. Okay, so I cleaned half of my apartment, did some other miscellaneous things, and I did watch everything that I wanted to watch on my list, so I need to add this time. Yes.
with this book depository package. I am very, very...
Hello. Okay, so it is the last day. It is Tuesday the 14th. So I feel like this is very typical famous last words, best laid plans kind of thing. So, I was saying at the beginning of this that I don't really have any responsibilities, and that's generally true. But of course, on this day, I ended up having to take a family member to the doctor, and they're fine. It was a time-sensitive but not dangerous situation, and so I already knew I wasn't going to hit 40 hours because I would have needed 8 hours today. I assumed that was not going to happen, but so it is 9:15 p.m. My plans for the rest of the evening are to take a shower and go to bed probably. So I am going to watch some YouTube or listen to some YouTube while I do that. I feel like that is a very perfect ending to this, of like life just completely tossing your plans to the side. It's very like emblematic of how life actually goes. I don't think it's more than I thought, because I did think I could get 40 hours, and I could have gotten 40 hours. Really, it was last Friday, being really just generally unmotivated in life, not for language learning, just kind of having a bad day or like a really low day in general. That is what really set me back, and that's, again, totally fine. Life happens. You can't be on 100% of the time. Not disappointed at all. Prior to this year, I was usually getting about 35 hours in a month. So yeah. This is just apparently the location in which we talk about this challenge. We have a friend here. It is like a day later or something like that, and I just kind of compiled some stats. Had 35.68 hours. 31% of that time was on YouTube, which was the biggest category, which is unusual for me. Normally it is audiobooks, but audiobooks was second, 27%. Next was series, like shows, at 14%. Audio plus book, so listening to an audiobook while reading the book, was 10%. Movies was 7%. Book alone, reading, was 5%. Podcasts 4%. And study 1%. So just in YouTube, I spent almost 11 and a half hours. Yeah, my highest day was Saturday with 7.15 hours. And my lowest day was Thursday with 3.21 hours. I think my conclusions from this challenge. I think that this was really good for kind of pushing what I normally accomplish. This was not sustainable, definitely, for me. Something important to keep in mind is that of the luxuries of life right now, learning Spanish is my top priority. So that does make it easier, for something like this. But also, it's not my only priority. So during this week, I really did not do any other hobbies at all, which was, again, fine, but for me, just personally, is not sustainable because I do have other hobbies that I enjoy. I would say the other thing for me was that I did notice kind of the quality of my attention decreasing at some point. Like, I do think that it's very valuable to push through kind of fatigue. Like, when I first started studying Spanish and started doing, like, immersion stuff, I've talked about this before, but, like, I could barely read or listen for 5 minutes, like, it was so mentally taxing that it felt like, putting the two wrong sides of the magnet together. That has to be pushed through, and that continues throughout. So, like, at some point it was like 20 minutes, and then my brain would just be like, I can't do it anymore. And, you had to keep pushing then. But there was a point at which it wasn't so much that it was too much Spanish in one sitting. It was just that sometimes I was just no longer that interested. And so I think that's something that I'm going to really pay attention to in the future, is making sure that I do have things saved up that I am really interested in for any kind of challenges like this, because I think it's important anytime to be using things that you are really, really interested in. But if you are force feeding it over a longer period, you definitely need to make sure that you are very interested in everything that you are doing, because otherwise it is really going to turn into a chore. I think that, again, the fact that my categories didn't line up to how they normally would be, so like 31% YouTube is way off of what it should be, and that's kind of means that I was just keeping YouTube on as much as I possibly could in order to get time in. And again, I just don't think that that led to me feeling really good about that time or really enjoying that time. And I love YouTube. It's not that I don't enjoy watching YouTube, but I think I was using it as kind of filler content. This was really good, and I actually do want to do this again. I wasn't sure that I would want to, but I actually do want to do it again. So anyway, I will stop rambling, but let me know if you have ever tried something like this, or if you would ever try something like this. If you would want to, do kind of a communal one in the future, I would definitely be open to that, so let me know. But I will see you in the next video.